Welcome back to What Matters This Week. I'm Lauren Maloney. Joining us this Sunday is Andrew Brown, the Essex Junction Village president. Andrew, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're here to talk about all things Amtrak because there are a lot of developments. This as rail travel gets underway again after these past 15, 16-month hiatus. What do you think have people missed about traveling by train?
I think really what we've missed is the ability to go somewhere else. I think we've all been so kind of comfortable and used to being able to have the freedom of traveling around our country, traveling around our state, that we've missed that for whether it be recreational purposes or leisure purposes, or just being able to connect with the family who don't live right next door to us.
Yeah.
So being able to have those connections again, I think are really what people have missed and are really longing for.
I do want to talk about the event tomorrow on the 19th, but first, I know the actual Amtrak station itself in Essex Junction is a big point that you want to mention today. When people get off the train in Essex Junction, some wonder, correct me if I'm wrong, if they're even at a train station, correct?
Yes, very much so. The current state of the train station is anything but ideal, to say the least. You can definitely see that there are portions that are crumbling, not just in terms of the paint, but in terms of even the walls to help retain some of the gravel and from the fence that exists. The facility in and of itself is just in dire need of assistance and modernization. Currently, the facility that exists only has one bathroom, but yet has over 20,000 people that go through it within a given year. When we talk about students both coming to college at the beginning of a semester and leaving, we tend to see between 150 to 250 individual riders either board or come off of the train at any one given point in time. You can imagine with one bathroom and 150 to 250 people needing to get on or off, that's not going to quite work too well, let alone the fact that there really are not many shelter opportunities for adverse weather events. Getting on or off in the rain really is not a good experience at that station. And furthermore, when you look at the station and you're coming from the south, say you're a parent who's coming to Vermont for the first time to help go on that college tour process, what you're coming to in Essex Junction for a train station is less than a warm and inviting environment, and is really one of those where when you would get off of the train, you'd look around and ask yourself if this is what I would want my child to experience. As a parent myself, when our child is at that stage, if I were to come off and see that train station, I would really be second guessing whether or not we'd want our child to go to this school. So from an economic standpoint, that clearly is not what we'd want, as well as a relationship standpoint or really just a welcoming community message we'd want to send.
And when you talk about a college parent, also there's lighting issues and safety concerns too.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, coming off in a dark train station where the train station itself doesn't look like it's had a paint job in years, and the paint is crumbling off at one side of the train station, typically where taxis are waiting, you can see what is left of a payphone, except the payphone itself isn't there. The cords are there and hanging out of the wall, and the spiderweb mess that's currently there is just less than a welcoming environment.
Okay. What do people tell you from outside of the area when they get there, or what are the stories that you've heard?
If there were a Yelp page for reviewing the train station, it would definitely not be on the hot list.
Or the Chamber of Commerce website.
Right. That is not. So that train station is the most heavily utilized train station in the state. You wouldn't know it by looking at it. When you look at other train stations around the state, like the Ferrisburg-Virgin station, which is a beautiful facility, you would think something like that would be one of the most heavily utilized train stations. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and the Village of Essex Junction's train station is in dire need of repair and updating, which we did submit a request to Senator Leahy for some federal funding through the congressional delegated process, and we actually found out yesterday we made his shortlist. So there's a good chance that we've at least made it to the next step of this process of being able to get some federal funding to help.
And is that best case scenario, best possible outcome, or the only avenue open to you right now to giving it a makeover?
It really is the best case. You know, our rail infrastructure isn't designed to support or be supported by our individual communities. Rail, just like our highways, just like our airports, are regional and statewide in use and in benefit. The entire region of Chittenden County and beyond really benefit from having a good rail infrastructure as a part of our transportation infrastructure. And so relying on just the village of Essex Junction to support it, one, goes against the philosophy as to why trains were put in the first place, as well as it's just illogical to expect any one community to maintain something such as a train station for the greater good of everybody else.
I understand when it comes to the platform, though, some work is going to happen, and soon, when it comes to getting up to compatibility with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes, the current track as it is too low, and the boarding platform is too low for those with wheelchairs or walkers. There is no ramp to get onto the train. So currently the train is delayed by approximately 3 to 4 minutes every time somebody who has a walker or has a wheelchair needs to get on, as they manually take out this contraption to lift the individual up, put them onto the train, and then put that lift away. So that then also backs up the train and really becomes quite the deterrent to on-time ridership.
When does that work start?
That work is supposed to start, I believe, in 2 years.
Okay.
But I would need to double check on that.
So it's on track, no pun intended, but it's not going to happen, in 2 months either.
Correct.
What's gotten in the way of construction happening, in the past several years?
Funding has really been a big portion of it. Federally and congressionally, the funds for Amtrak and the funds for the rail program in general really have not met the need. And that just really fits into the broader narrative of federal funding for infrastructure just not being what it needs to be to maintain our infrastructure to what we need it to be. So that has definitely been a big one. In this past year with the pandemic, that has also just been a significant barrier to having these projects move forward.
True. Okay. That said, on the 19th, which is tomorrow, basically rail travel, Amtrak gets up and running, the Vermonter, the Ethan Allen Express, what many people have missed, as we said, for 16 months. So what are some of the things that you have in store to kick things off?
Yeah, so we're looking forward to a great opening event up in St. Albans where we'll be boarding the train. A few of us from Essex Junction will be boarding the train there, as well as some dignitaries from around the state. And then coming down to Essex Junction, we will be getting off of the train at approximately 9:44. And then as we get off, we'll have a few speeches, there will be some refreshments, and at 10 o'clock there will be some additional presentations about the future of the train station, as well as the future of the village of Essex Junction's downtown core. We're having a brand new road being put in, which will circumvent quite a few arteries of Five Corners. So those coming into the village and leaving the village, going towards or from Williston, will be able to more easily get around Five Corners and avoid a couple of the train tracks, so that way we can help to make that road travel, whether it be on a car or whether it be on a bike or on your feet on the sidewalks, to help facilitate that and make that faster, and really being able to show some of the economic growth that we've been able to achieve over the past few years in downtown Essex Junction.
Representative Peter Welch, I understand, will be making the trip as well. Is it important for you to have some officials that have a connection in Washington really see what it's like in Essex Junction?
Oh, absolutely. Representatives like Representative Welch, who really do a great job of advocating for the needs of Vermonters, being able to have Representative Welch and others at that event and being able to see what it is like from the eye of a passenger, whether that be a resident going out of state or whether that be somebody out of state coming into state, and seeing the condition of the train station as well as just that experience is really important, so that way when he goes back to Washington, he can keep that in the back of his mind as bills and funding opportunities come available.
Now, people can have the opportunity to take a $1 trip, but that's just within the state. They're not going to New York City, right? They're
Right.
just taking a celebratory trip to kick things off as Amtrak comes back.
Yes, it'll be a great trip for those who do choose to either get on or off at Essex Junction. There will be a great opportunity. If you're going beyond Essex Junction and you're boarding elsewhere, there are great opportunities to be able to experience what it's like to ride in a train again. Those of us who have grown up in Vermont really haven't had many opportunities to ride the train for fun. If you've grown up in a more metropolitan area like New York, you've been able to ride the subway on a regular basis. And it's a really good experience to be able to enjoy this.
Economically, within the village, within Five Corners, you know, and elsewhere in the greater Burlington area, what does it mean finally to have this route and have this option back?
Yeah, this is a very important opportunity for economic development and for just community building as well. We know that, you know, before the pandemic, the state had been significantly concerned about the population decline statewide, while Chittenden County's population has been growing. And by having this train and being able to more easily connect to our major cities, major metropolitan areas, helps to just show that Vermont, Chittenden County, Burlington, Essex is an accessible place to the broader community. So from that economic development standpoint, it means we can welcome visitors. It means that we can make it easier for visitors to get here. Whenever me and my family, when we travel around, we don't want to have to worry about where our car is. We don't want to have to worry about parking. So being able to take, you know, mass transit, as well as helping to reduce our carbon footprint, is a very important thing for our economy and our society for the long term.
Okay. Andrew, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you for having me, and hope to see the community there.
I hope you're right. I hope everybody turns out. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on What Matters This Week.